I'm Allie, and please forgive me for kicking us off this evening. I want to talk to you guys about something I did the year after I went to college. I got a Watson Fellowship, which is basically this crazy grant that gives you cash to travel around the world for a year. There are a couple of rules, and by that I mean two. You can't come back to the US, and you can only use the money you're given and not run out of it. So those are the two rules. So this is me packing up and heading out to Costa Rica. My project, so you have to follow your passion, and my project was whitewater kayaking. The interesting thing is they just say, what are you about, what do you want to do? And so I thought, I want to go study other women that are participating in this emerging kind of creaky whitewater sport. So, and off I went. So first I was in Costa Rica, and you're by yourself for a long time, and you kind of deal with whatever your issues are. And it's like putting yourself in a paper bag with yourself and shaking it up, and the best person comes out alive. So the first thing I dealt with was a lot of like machismo, Costa Rican. It was sort of like being a surf instructor to be a raft guide, kayaker. So I lived in this treehouse, and I went kayaking with a bunch of people, and it was really hard. There were not a lot of other women kayaking, and it was really hard to make friends. I felt really isolated. And so after a couple months, I moved on to New Zealand. And I was adopted by some Kiwis, like these guys. And there are lots of women paddling, and little known fact about New Zealand, they have striped long johns, so it's Christmas morning pretty much all the time. They're in their striped PJs. And these people just really took me in and made me feel like I belonged, and there are a lot of, just totally different skill levels from people who were just learning, to women that were going up in helicopters with me, getting dropped off in the middle of nowhere, and you kayak out because you couldn't walk out from there. So that's something we hiked around, and we paddled the rest of that through this canyon after this helicopter dropped us off. And yeah, so I'd also never driven a stick shift before, and I was living in this van, and these people helped me learn how to drive a stick shift on the opposite side of the van. I was horrified. They've never been, people, they were just so kind and unafraid of me getting in the wrong lane a lot. And I also learned to build my own kayaks in New Zealand, so I got to work where you pour plastic into molds, and I made a little pink snail on this one. It was really cool because when you run waterfalls, you kind of lean forward and you do this tuck if it's really deep, so you can kind of do a little swan dive. And so I would have to lean over the snail. It was like this reminder to protect it. So it really picked me up after a hard time in Costa Rica. But what was really interesting about the Watson Fellowship was asking you, what do you want to do and why do you want to do it? And it was interesting for me because I thought that I could be happy living out of my car and going whitewater kayaking every single day, and then I got to try and do that. And I found out that maybe that wasn't the only thing that I wanted to do. So eventually I dislocated my shoulder, and I just sort of wandered around. I was in Chile when this happened, and I had been working with some students on a gap year program, and they were giving me free food and a ride to the river every day, which is what you need when you're kayaking all the time. And so this is in Chile, right outside of Santiago. And I was like, well, I really thought that I defined myself by kayaking and being really hardcore and throwing yourself off waterfalls and having a death wish. And so I just sort of limped my way into Argentina, and I didn't really know what I was going to do, but I found a surgeon, and they told me that I could come home for surgery to the US, but that would be the end of my year. But I didn't want to stop what I was doing, or getting to live out of the country, so I had the surgery in Argentina, got my shoulder fixed, and met some really awesome people there. I didn't even plan to spend any time in Argentina, so the plan was to go to Europe and to do some big creek whitewater races, and maybe get hurt in Norway like a month before I came home, but definitely not 3 months before I came home. So this is me really excited with my shoulder broken in south of Chile. I think I got in an MRI machine from the 50s. It was really loud. I swear I was in there for like 8 hours. Not really. So I decided to have the surgery in Argentina, and I was afraid they were going to tell me that I couldn't, so I sent them an email the day of my surgery, and I was like, so I'm just gonna have it taken care of down here, everything's fine. My mom came in case we had to repatriate me if something went badly. And anyway, yeah, so, and then I actually started doing art, and I realized that what I really wanted to do was, that's Mom visiting me in the hospital, before my surgery. I actually woke up during my surgery, it was horrifying. But it works now, everything's good. So I ended up moving totally by chance above an art studio when I moved to Argentina. And I was recovering, and I was ordering lots of delivery food and just hanging out and working on my Spanish. And I started realizing that what I loved about kayaking I could do in this totally different urban setting with all these new people, and that was experiencing physically where we lived together in the urban setting instead of in the mountains through visual art. So I joined this artist cooperative, and I started doing watercolors and drawing, something I'd never done before. And this is Allie and Floor. I lived with them. I got carbon monoxide poisoning too at one point, and I moved in with my friends because that apartment was not good. And and these people also just adopted me and took me in for no reason really, just because they were amazing. This is some watercolors that I did. And it's really affected what I do now. So if you guys have ever worked with me before, I'm in arts. I used to be in arts administration and technology, and now I've started a company with my friend Reed that is all about visual art and visualization, experiencing space. So because I had dislocated my shoulder, and because I couldn't go kayaking, even though I thought that was like the point of my life, I got into this whole new thing about experiencing place. And it's just really powerful when someone asks you, what do you want to do? And you can translate that into whatever your situation is. And so now I get to help other students at Sewanee, where I went to school, kind of think about what their dream project might be if they apply for the Watson Fellowship, and then help them manage their expectations and if anything were to go wrong. So, thank you.